What's up, Go enthusiasts? Welcome to Game 5 of the Games of Blood and Tears between Huang Lengshe and Zhu Jingyu. In Game 4, Huang Lengshe scored his first victory, and here he is to try to repeat the feat against the Zhu Jingyu. He'll definitely be a bit extra cautious. Well, the game starts a little differently than the previous ones did. Huang Lengshe didn't take a corner first, but he took an approach, so Zhu Jingyu took a corner, and Huang Lengshe is making another breaking kind of idea. Um, this seemed to work for him in the last game, where he left some weak groups behind and sort of asked Zhu Jingyu, how are you going to attack it? And Zhu Jingyu never really found a plan, never found his correct method to put the pressure on. So Huang Lengshe seems to be wanting to repeat. He's going to throw a few stones down and just have weak groups that he can save. And I think Zhu Jingyu understands that this is Huang Lengshe's plan too, because he plays here. This may look like an aggressive move, but it really isn't that aggressive. It would be more aggressive, in my opinion, to play simply backing off rather than slide, because after slide, everyone knows that you can push down like this, and black will usually want to push against white. It's normal, and white needs to keep control of the pushing fight to the center, should just jump. This is a very standard sequence where both players are making sure not to get locally punished or anything. But at the end here, black needs to go take his base anyway. And these exchanges, they actually solidify white more than weaken this white group. So if you had really wanted to play an attacking game, it would have probably been smarter to leave this group rather than exchanging these things. These exchanges do have a bonus for Zhu Jingyu, though. There's a good reason why he's done them, and it's quite simple. There's some territory there. That's quite a lot of territory for 10 moves into the game. But Huang Lengshe is not that weak now with this group, so he could just leave it forever. That's one way to play with this sort of thing. It would definitely not be smart to defend it again. Then you're just going to let black take control, go to some fast spot. And so what Huang Lengshe actually chooses to do is play on the other side of black's sort of pincering stone. So he's going to transition this group from its sort of stable state where you could leave it forever to a weak group again. He's intent on leaving a group which is weak. So he gets this extra strength and he will use it immediately, try to attack. Every little bit of strength that he gets, that is his weapon against Zhu Jingyu. So Zhu Jingyu runs out, and this prevents the connect underneath, which was more popular back then than it is now. That's why you run with the diagonal move. If you have a situation like this and you really don't want your opponent to connect underneath, diagonal is significantly better than the iron pillar, which I've seen someone do recently. That is almost never a good move. Diagonal at least has the pressure that next black can press, can play one more move, pressing over this white group and sort of start to steal its base away. But in the meantime, white doesn't need to worry about that because the upper right group is strong and the bottom right group is only one stone. So he goes to the corner, takes a bit more of a base. Black needs to try to take that base as well with his own stone. So they contest the corner here. Black attaches, white plays Hane. Black extends down, and white plays an extend to the center. This breaks the black's potential tiger's mouth in the center. And in general, it's just a really nice vital point to have in this kind of shape, as it causes black to have a cutting point on the side, which white can actually use if he would continue to attack this group, and it really restricts black's movement to the center. So like just having the initiative, the first person to have played over both sides trying to run to the center or something like this, it gives you an edge in the fight between these two groups. Black is going to try to take that edge as well, and he extends up here. And white continues with this bump. It's quite an interesting move, I think. This bump is usually a bad move. Most of the time, this is going to be a bad move, and Zhu Jingyu shows why. You just descend down. So the bump, the only reason people usually can abide by this bump or can occasionally think that this is okay is if you have like two different follow-ups, and for both of these follow-ups, that bump is going to be in a good spot. If the situation just sort of settles and nothing happens, usually this shape is just really bad for white. And the reason why is that this white stone here, that stone is very inefficient. It's better placed if it covers white's weaknesses more or helps white run to the center. So most of the time, this kind of bump is bad. However, in this case, Wang Lingshe had a second plan of pincering the black group on the bottom, and he thought that the bump was necessary if black descends, that this bump is really going to help him in this fight. And the reason why he thinks that is that just that little bit of extra power, that little bit of extra, one extra stone's worth of oomph is helping protect against any black strike, against Wait's weakness, and particularly this cutting point, and the chance that there could be some kind of peep here. So in the game, black just plays in the center. If Wei hadn't played this bump and had just immediately pincered, then maybe black could have played like this, stolen away the white base, and then even still, if white can't make any surround or any serious punch on this black group on the bottom side, it's going to be a good game for black. So bump, very interesting idea, a way that Huang Lingshe tries to set up this fight so that black has to run and allow white to run, and basically Huang Lingshe's end goal, his dream, is that he is chasing these two black groups. The two groups could be attacked both at the same time by this white group, then Huang Lingshe could maybe take an initiative here. Well, black needs to defend his group in the corner, so he plays this Hane, as we saw, and it actually is a really good move by Xu Xingyu here. This Hane is the correct way to run because it uses the white weaknesses on the side very, very actively, and Huang Lingshe has to find a pretty good move here, and he chooses to play the clamp like this. Why couldn't he just play standard? Like the standard way, your opponent Hanes, they're trying to push into your area, you just block, right? But then black plays this move, and Wei has a few weaknesses on the side. If black could push and cut, black could either capture these 3 stones or cut off white from the center. It's harsh enough of a threat that Wei should actually just answer. And then you can see in such a variation that black is basically going to get us around on this white, and the overall initiative, you can hardly say that it's good for white. Like this variation looks clearly good for black. So Huang Lingshe has to fight against that, and he chooses to use this clamp to do so. It was carefully read out by Huang Lingshe. He thought, yes, black can push, but then I can just answer with this tiger's mouth. Although black can Atari, I can answer. And when black fixes, so making sure to save his 2 stones that the clamp is threatening to Atari and capture, Wait still has the time to run to the center with a jump. So by making this clamp, he has basically managed to secure his area on the right side and secure a way out at the cost of some shape concerns. That one stone is not very well placed now, but as long as Huang Lingshe is getting the kind of game that he wants, what else can you ask for? In fact, actually, black really shouldn't have played this Atari for the record. I mean, if you would just play this one first, a lot of the time later, you're going to churn and you're going to want to Atari from the corner for endgame. If you would ever actually want to play the Atari on the 2 stones, if that stone ever becomes important, you can probably just get it later. So this exchange was a little bit immature by Xu Xingyu, and Huang Lingshe kind of catches up a little bit. And Xu Xingyu continues to defend his group on the right side. Of course, you have to do that now after black got so much nice shape in the bottom right corner. You can't then just be a chicken with that group and try to run it out again. The group on the right side is more urgent for sure. Huang Lingshe plays here. It's a really nice move. Even though black wasn't supposed to be a chicken, now what? You're surrounded. It's so difficult to handle. Normally, your way to handle this kind of thing is you make some cut, you start fighting in the center, you show that white has their own weaknesses that they have to deal with, and because of them, because of the white weaknesses, they can't chase your group entirely. Because normally this kind of white shape is so fast, there's only 3 stones covering like half the board distance. Normally you can stop that. In this case, it's really quite difficult, actually. And Xu Xingyu doesn't find a way to cut or do anything like that. He only saves like straightforwardly by himself in the corner. And so Huang Lingshe fixes his relatively thin shape in the center. Xu Xingyu continues to just outline as much shape as he can in the corner. Xu Xingyu saved. He managed to make his life inside, but this is clearly a win in terms of initiative for White. White got a whole bunch of extra outside strength, and all that black got was just a little bit of territory inside. It's not satisfying. Huang Lingshe presses his advantage. He pushes into the second line here, and I think that he hoped black would just answer. But even if Zhu Xingyu was passive, and I mean, it was hard to not be passive here. Like, for example, often in such a case, you want to play here. If they answer, then you can bust out this way. But in this case, white could have extended here. And if you try to make eyes just in the center like this is even worse than Zhu Xingyu's variation in the game. In terms of like keeping chances to cuts later, Zhu Xingyu didn't do that bad of a job. Like there's still some weaknesses in the center. But he did play passively, and I think Huang Lingshe wanted to exploit that when he played here. He was like, hey, if you answer me one more time, this is just a clear gain in endgame. Like, white gets the whole corner, and black would just have to spend one more move in his own territory. Black didn't want that, and so he took this timing first to force white to answer on the side, and then to play the breaking of the bamboo shape. If white had played there, it's a bamboo. Black plays there, it breaks the bamboo. It's a really, really powerful shape. And white has almost no option but to extend into the center here. If he wouldn't do that, then black could get some chance to run. This kind of move here. White can't cut now. Black could Atari, and there's a few ways to try to continue this, but probably just cutting here first is the cleanest. Yeah, this is not going to work for white in any way. So white has to extend. He has to keep his surround on this black group, but black cuts here. He didn't even have to. You can notice already if black cuts here, he has one eye in the center. And if he would, instead of cutting there, let's say he plays away, takes the corner, and white stops that, he can still live on the bottom side of something like this. He has one eye on the side, one eye over there. Black already has two eyes. He either can make two eyes on the bottom itself or just one eye and then make another eye here. But he's not done yet. He cuts as well. And the cut, it means that he's just going to go after and break through all this weight that was trying to surround him in the first place. Huang Lingshe makes, I think, one of his few mistakes in this game right here. Few clear mistakes. He extends like this. And that doesn't really make sense because of what he's about to do next after black extends here, which is play away. And playing away was a great idea. Playing away is good. But if you're going to play away, you should do it now. Exchanging this, it's like, imagine we had reversed the order. If black played here, yeah, that's a big move. That's clearly pretty good for black. But then after black plays here, what is this white stone doing? We wouldn't want to try to save the cutting stone anymore, because if black has already had this stone, you can consider black strong, right? So whatever you think that this black has in strength at this point, you should think about it already when you're playing the move here. So if it's time to tenuki after just exchanging this one time, maybe Huang Lingshe is thinking I can assist my stone on the bottom, take some base with that, but that is not an ideal space for your stone in terms of efficiency by any stretch of the imagination. So small mistake. However, what Huang Lingshe does next by playing this tenuki is exactly the right direction and the right idea. He's keeping the pressure back on this black group on the right side. Because black originally has been spending all these stones defending his group in the bottom right, and as he did that, white got a little bit of extra help, this one extra stone in the center to help secure this around, the initial stone surrounding, all these little bits of additional help that white has gotten towards the right side kind of went under the radar, and white is now going to put them to use. Black has to figure out how to save his group on the right side. It's kind of tough. He starts with this peep and plays this attachment. This is a super common way to break through if your opponent is trying to surround you with this like very thin shape. Most notably, the large knight's shape. If someone plays a large knight's shape against you and they're trying to surround you and seal you in, very, very commonly you want to attach at where the small knight would have been. It's sort of like saying the large knight was too thin and you should have played the small knight instead. And very commonly, if black wants to attach there, black wants a little bit of assistance first. If black had originally played here, then when white plays the hane on the inside, black has to cut with this empty triangle. It feels quite inefficient by itself, and even black doesn't have any great way to strike against that one stone, so white could consider to save on this side. Black may not get the timing to peep here anymore. Maybe white will connect and sacrifice those 2 stones to kill the whole group. This would be a good variation for white. That's why I peep first into attach here. This is a super common variation, super powerful for black in most board states. Here, white honeys inside anyway. And black needs to cut with the empty triangle. It's a little annoying to play an empty triangle, but this way black seems to have pressure against that 1 stone and the other 1 stone. So either way, black should be able to settle himself nicely and do something good. That's the thought here. But white plays a really surprising idea. It was very interesting what Hong Linsha did just now. He played Atari, and in most situations, Atari is not followed up by the connect on this side. Most of the time, if you Atari in a crosscut situation, what you really are trying to do is defend the other side. So coming back to defend that side, it's sort of like giving a patchwork defense to your center, and then actual defense to the right side part of the fight. If instead of doing this, white had just originally played here, then you can see in such a variation, white would actually really miss having this black stone be 2 stones. If white could swallow that stone and have it be eating 2 stones rather than 1 stone, it would be a bigger gain for white. So very common to Atari and then play here. Now, if Hong Linsha had done this, black could still save in the center, but white would be able to net 2 stones. Actually, this is probably a better variation than the game, to be honest. Objectively, this is probably better. However, it's going to be really difficult for white to continue to attack this black group because Tengen, that Tengen stone, is working perfectly to help it run to the center. It's just an additional running stone, and white can't ever really imagine coming in and breaking through this shape. Black is basically going to be strong groups, and white is going to be strong groups, and nothing will happen, and white will lose the game because he's down 30 points from the original handicap. So instead of doing that, I think objectively a little bit better variation, but way too clean, he does this one. It's a very, very interesting idea. It means black can just capture that stone, but when he does it and he takes that eye, white gets this additional forcing move, and white is going to try to play some forcing moves against the black upper right corner to get us around on the black right side group. I think it's a really nice and fleshed out strategic idea by Hong Linsha here. Even though the shape isn't that nice, like we let black just capture a stone with his weak group, the overall strategic game from here is really awkward. It's always the most difficult when you have 2 things you really need to do, and you have to figure out like which one should I prioritize? Which one am I supposed to take better control over? How should my shapes make sure to not interfere with each other? And black has that problem right now. How do I defend the top side in a way that doesn't kill my right side group? He chooses to just directly kick like this, so giving his group an option to clearly run out, but of course white will extend. And the white group is not that strong itself, but also the black group is just surrounded now. There's no way for it to break out. So Zhu Jingyu attaches and plays here. What he's doing is he's setting up a way to live locally. The idea is black is forcing white to answer here, otherwise he could just continue to push out and form his 1 eye in the center. That would look something like here, here, here. Yeah, this would be black alive in Sente, of course. So white should answer, and then black, after exchanging a few times over here, making some cuts, making sure that white will have to take care of his group on the top side after this, he descends to the first line. And this is going to live this black group for all practical purposes. White needs to just play away now. If white would try to attack, so white could play like this to attack the group, then technically is not locally alive. However, there is this move. So then you can argue, well, technically as white, I could take that first. I can play that move as a forcing move and then play here. And then the problem now, you have to save these 3 stones if you want to kill the group, and the white group in the corner will die. So white just doesn't have enough power. He doesn't have enough backup to be able to kill this group on the right. So it managed to live. But does that mean this was good? That's the second part of the question. It wasn't really good, even though black could live. What white does now, he saves his 2 stones here. And although this black group is alive, it's only kind of alive. And you have to be really careful, because remember, this move that approach to the weakness here was forcing for white. So black He exchanges a few times on the bottom side here. Those were all forcing to try to save this group. But finally, after making a few more exchanges, yeah, he's going to try to save his group. White exchanges this one time, saves these 2 stones, and black eventually has to live locally. Now, these exchanges, there's some commentary to be had, right? There's definitely some suspicious stuff going on. The problem was, if black would just completely play away now, let's say he takes care of his group over here or something like that, white can play this move, and it should be Sente to kill the right side. If black doesn't answer, let's say he saves this group on the bottom side, then when white plays here, there's just a free ko to disconnect, and if white actually does disconnect these 2 black groups, they will both die with only 1 eye. So that move, this move in the center, is Sente towards both groups at this moment, and it's super annoying for black, because he could have just eaten this 1 stone and saved his group on the bottom side, but then when white plays here, it is forcing for the right side. And if you have to save both groups in total gote, it like feels really bad. So black was trying to fight against this, trying to do a better job when he made these exchanges. He's trying to like outline the best shape that he can, but to be honest, they're just bad exchanges. And Huang Longshi is sort of showing that when he plays here. Black should have just eaten his medicine, chilled, gone on to the next fight, and relaxed. But what he did instead is he allowed white to fix his shape really naturally. So this white outside is actually more connected than it was before if black wouldn't have exchanged any of these moves. And then even still afterwards, black felt that it was necessary to directly save here. That allows black to save the bottom side group now, but white can make this forcing move, and black has to save it inside with just the 2 eyes of life. So black is now like clearly alive with everything, but all the white shapes, the white corner, the white center, they all look strong, and that surround that white got on the right side has really paid off. So white has actually caught up like so much. And you might wonder, well, what did black do wrong? Because all the threats that white had against his groups were real. Well, what black did wrong was originally when he got to this position, white was a little weak, but white had made a surround. Black needed to fight back in the center. He needed to chase through like this, and then however he continues, it has to be something like this, where the white group is also surrounded. And if this becomes a capture race, white versus black, it's pretty difficult to tell who's going to win, but it shouldn't be like white just cleans up. It shouldn't be like white just easily wins this without any difficulty, without any extra thing. And actually, this gives black more of a weapon. If black gets a surround on this white group and gets a lot of potential pressure towards the center, even if this capture race doesn't go that well, and it should, according to AI. According to AI, this should be like Seki or something. But even if it doesn't go that well, black can still turn around and have more pressure for the next fight. So you can sort of feel this is the difference between the 2 players. Like Huang Longshi, if his group gets in trouble, he's going to use all those counterattacking chances that he has, even if they're quite scary, even if they're difficult to read and maybe not even obviously working. Huang Longshi is going to go for that kind of aji, and that's what separates him. That's what allows him to gain against Xu Xingyu. You can see even Huang Longshi originally had left his group on the right side completely when he played disconnect in the center. Super risky play, leaves his group in a very dangerous spot, but just tries to fight through it. Xu Xingyu, he doesn't do the risky thing. He doesn't try to fight through the risky spot. He just saves passively, and Huang Longshi can exploit that. Exploit that to gain all this value everywhere and just in general win the fight by being strong at the end. Finally, this white group looks like it should still be weak at the end, but white is the one with the first move because black had to defend. He had to save his group on the bottom. I mean, maybe he didn't really have to save it. To be honest, it's still possible to play here. Just say, I can kill your right side, you can kill my bottom side, and then continue the game from here. This would also have been playable. But black just chose to save, and then white can save his own group by playing this Atari. I think even Xu Xingyu wasn't so clear on how this was going to work because he ran out one time, and that is just going to instantly be shown to be a mistake by Huang Longshi. He plays the vital point, and black needs to answer in the corner. There's no way that black could continue to play here. There's so many ways that this can be punished. I mean, you just Atari, just capture the 3 stones. It's all over. So Of course, black had to answer in the corner, and then that means that white gets this quasi-net in the center. And black now realizes that it's time to give up. He has to go somewhere else. If you would try to save these 3 stones, white will squeeze like this. And okay, the point of this was to attack the white group, but it's just getting a whole bunch of territory on the top side. So the attack has clearly failed. Even black has a weak group. This is not playable. So black wisely does not commit to that. He just switches. He goes to the bottom side. But even here, Huang Lingshe has another little trick up his sleeve. It's a really, really nice combination here. I think you can pause the video and see if you can find it if you'd like to. While you do that, while you take the time to figure things out, I want to first of all say thank you for watching till now. Like the video, subscribe, all that. And I'm sorry for the long break that I had recently, just the last month. The semifinals are still coming for that greatest Go tournament run possible. The problem is that it's so hard to analyze, to be honest. The winning moment in that game is so difficult to pin down. My Katago can't find it. So I'm trying to do it humanly, and that basically means I have to find Shinjin So's mistake myself as a human, and specifically, like, I want to know why. I'm pretty sure I know by this point exactly what it was, but the why is still difficult for me. I need to go down like very long end games by myself. I'm not that skillful, so I'm having a hard time with it, but I asked for help recently, and I hope to get that one out soon. Anyway, back to this game. White plays the push and cut. It was cool technique by Huang Lingshe. Push first means black should care more about these cutting stones. If he had just immediately cut, then black would have pretty much no issue sacrificing those 2 stones. But after this variation, when black plays this Atari, it's not about running this out for Huang Lingshe. It's about cutting again here. And then after black captures, white can extend here, and you see he saves his stones on the bottom by cleanly capturing these 3 stones. And he even made sure it was 3 stones and not just 2 by playing that push exchange first. So Xu Jingyu continues. He plays this diagonal move, but this move is really not a great shape. It just allows white to play the squeezing move later, and it isn't actually forcing against the white center either. So white just ignores that, runs to the corner. Black can push once, but he has to answer eventually. You can see that these stones are kind of misplaced now. If black is just going to have a wall here towards the left side, it's not that important to increase the wall and push towards the center where white is strong. It's more important to have control over the side where the wall is facing. So Huang Lingshe really outplays Xu Jingyu in this fight. He manages to totally negate most of Xu Jingyu's movements and the value that his influence can get, the value that he could have had pressing the white group on the bottom. But the game is not over. Black is still leading, even though he's played all sorts of mistakes this game. He has such a huge handicap. He's still fine. All he has to do is play naturally from here, and he absolutely does not do that. This attach is frankly a terrible move, a horrible move which you would never see a professional player playing nowadays, and even players at my skill level will not play any moves this bad, to be honest. Wait, just like, so the reason why it's bad, black, he was thinking to himself, I'm never going to do that variation, which I showed earlier, about running those 3 stones out, like running the group out and then attacking this way. He was thinking that variation, it looks like white is so strong, I'm never going to do that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take the territory on the top and just let white capture. So that's what happened in the game. He took the territory on the top and let white capture. But if white was going to capture here, where do you want your stone? The answer should absolutely be not on the top side, because that's where white's strong suit is. That's like where the white strength is. That's exactly where you don't want to fight against them. So it would have been so much better here for black to play a move here. And then if white would capture eventually, we will absolutely ignore this area forever and still do valuable things by ourselves, right? When black does this, not only is he like putting his stones in the wrong place, he's also eliminating any chance that he has to do the cool stuff later that can potentially gain him something. It's like this is not only just bad right now, but it makes sure that black also will not be able to do any game-winning maneuvers later or any gains. He's not thinking like that. He's like, I'm slightly ahead. I'm gonna keep that lead in territory. That's what Zhu Jingyu is thinking about right now. But it just gives White the chance to take the corner as well. And so now Zhu Jingyu is still leading, but it's a very narrow margin. And we're going to see Zhu Jingyu make no more big mistakes, but Huang Luoshi will just have to slowly outplay him. And I think this is pretty much a most interesting part of the game, where it just is late middle game, pure skill. Both players are trying to get more out of this current situation with a black wall. How are you going to do that? And black just tries to pincer from the start. He's starting an attack, and Huang Luoshi needs to defend. So he takes the 2 space and it starts to outline some territory. You know, White could continue to slide to the corner, get a really big base. Black stops it with this move. This is one of Huang Luoxi's favorite moves, actually. It's very, very common that you have the 4/4 stone, your opponent approaches like this. If you want to steal away its base, you actually play the elephant jump. And the meaning is that White doesn't have the power to jump through the elephant jump. So really all that they can do is accept that you've limited their base a lot. So this White group now seems to be under significantly more danger than it was a move before. Huang Luoxi does not care. He plays from the corner like this. Because what was he going to do this game? What was his plan from the very beginning? Get weak groups. And it paid off. In the upper right corner, he had that weak group. Black could have cut and tried to attack it, but Black would have been weak himself. He was scared. Black backed off, let White save. And because White was originally weak, becoming strong was a massive gain for White. That's how he originally won this game. So he's going to do it again. He takes away the base from this black group. He leaves himself weak in front of this black wall. Black should run, but he doesn't. He plays over here. That means White can play an additional move to attack. If Black would run, then of course White would be able to save, and Black was probably thinking, well, then I'm just not going to have enough territory. So might as well take some territory, let White do whatever he wants. Maybe Zhu Jingyu will do the thing where he defends the weak group. No. Now it's Huang Luoxi's turn to figure out how to attack. How to attack where Zhu Jingyu doesn't have the chance to save a weak group extra efficiently. It was a really nice move, really instructive move that Huang Luoxi played just now. You may think it's crazy once you see it that I'm hyping this move up so much. He just played 1 space jump. It looks very normal, I'm sure. But think about it. If you had this position, what is the chance that you just play 1 space jump instead of knight's move or diagonal? If you play diagonal, it pretty much looks like you can capture that 1 stone. So why not? Why not? You can capture, right? Why not play diagonal? In fact, I checked, 1 space jump is the blue move, the AI recommended move, assuming ancient Chinese rule set. Isn't it just less strong of an attack? We aren't surrounding this black. Like immediately after that, Black goes to save his group. He plays this. He plays attach. He can run his group. He could have just played jump out. There's no way that we can significantly attack that Black group. So why like this? The reason why, if you would try to attack this very severely, this Black very severely, that will give Black the chance to save it and gain something. So instead of trying to attack this black group from the start, playing, for example, this knight's move originally, and then allow Black to save like this, you can see now, after such a variation is played, that White's shape is actually still having some cutting points. Of course, Black wouldn't take it right away, but it's still having some weaknesses. It's not as efficient of a shape as this one, which more securely connects the White group together and takes its own potential area in the center. So instead of making the absolute best initiative at the moment, Huang Luoxi is concerned about the long-term fight. How can he have his stones in the best shapes later throughout the rest of the game? He knows that this group will be attacked, so play the passive attack right now. If this group will be attacked, play the passive move that is part of the attack at the moment, and that stone will be so well placed at the moment after this moment. It was very instructive for me. I like this move a lot. To be honest, maybe I don't even know the right answer. Maybe what I've said is somehow incorrect, but that's what I learned from this. Personally, I wouldn't play this move myself, but it's better than my move according to AI, according to Huang Lingshe, and especially according to what happened in the game where Black tried to save his one stone. So now when Black is trying to save this one stone, White can push through here. So Black was trying to lean on the upper left White corner, gain some initiative, but he continued by blocking on the second line, which doesn't really make sense. It would have been better to block in the center. The reason I think why he did that is that if he would run through the center, whatever he does in the center, there's no way to like bust through this White one space jump. So he just tried to save by himself instead. He thought if I fight in the center, however I fight, that one space jump is still going to be efficiently like restricting me. So may as well just play on the side instead, try to take his two eyes. White played this surrounding move. This is a nasty, nasty move. It's really nice. And you can see there really wasn't anything lost at all by this one space jump. Like this one space jump, I know I'm hyping it up so much, it's just some random one space jump. But look at how beautiful it is now. It's both protecting that one stone on the side, so Black can't like push through, break through anything, and it sets up this surrounding shape in the center perfectly, beautifully. When Black plays this wedge, sort of hoping that there will be some weaknesses in this White shape, White has a very nice sequence of Atari and push here. And although Black can run through here, White gets the chance to net these two stones. If Black had not run through, if Black had saved these two stones, he would have really just ended up in bigger trouble when White surrounds the group on the side. So it makes sense for Black to trade through like this, and then it makes sense again to try to save this group running out by leaning on the corner. But look, at the end of the sequence, this White group on the left was the one that was supposed to eventually be attacked after this initial attack is over. It is the perfect defensive shape, absolutely perfect. You captured two stones, you've secured so much potential eye shape on the left side, and we've restricted this Black so much that it's just forced to run in a way that feeds us the upper left corner. In fact, Huang Lingshe now plays a very, very nice move of his own. I have to say, this next move also showed a lot of skill, a lot of creativity in a way that personally I didn't really expect. You can feel free to pause the video again. He played empty triangle here. It's normally you should play here. It's not normal to play an empty triangle. You just are letting your opponent connect in such a nice shape, and then he still has to answer in the upper left corner anyway. Otherwise, Black could restrict this in really nice shape. So why did he do it? The reason why he did it is that if you would descend here, Black is going to play this move, and it's super annoying in the corner. This is creating a classic shape for White, where if Black can play this peep, this vital point, let's say White plays away and Black plays there, it's basically almost dead for White. I mean, I say basically almost dead, but to be honest, it's kind of dead. It's so annoying to handle this kind of shape where you have to secure your connection and also secure your base, while this Black group is going to just, this Black one stone, it's just going to secure a base of its own in the corner, steal your base, one eye versus no eye, capture race, I win, you're dead. It was possible for White to play here and then continue by taking that vital point himself. If he would have played this variation, it would have been about the same as what he did in the game. But what he did in the game, like this, it left one more small difference. So first of all, you can argue that White's territory is a bit bigger. That's possible to argue. But the other small difference is on the side where Black's shape is. So for now, Black doesn't see any problem. He plays this peep. He tries to force White to answer. Huang Lingshe is like, you don't have enough power to do that. I can cut you. And so Black's like, I don't know, I'll play some other peep. And he just fixed the territory here. You can see that he had no idea what Huang Lingshe was planning, because Huang Lingshe played Atari and cut. So the second reason why this empty triangle was such a great move is it left this cut, which is just, very, very different from the other option, where if Huang Lingshe would have played the other way and answered here, then now the game would go on, and eventually, if Huang Lingshe wanted to cut here later, this cut is very different because Black has more options into the center. He can even just play a sacrificing strategy, something like this, would work beautifully for black to save that group. So something like this could have happened, for example, in the game, if white had done the normal thing in this upper left corner. But because he didn't, because he had the forethought to leave as many weaknesses for black as possible, he could make this cut. And this is going to become really, really dangerous for black. Black had to answer on the top side, or decided to answer on the top side here. Um, it just was a forcing move. If black could capture that, then black could also save his 2 stones and try to attack the whole upper right. That deflected the attack for a moment here on the top side, but he still has to save his group on the left. So he tries to run with a knight's move. It's honestly the correct way to run. It's a really nice move, but it plays this attach anyway. Black plays this forcing move, make sure that he can hane, and to be honest, this is where the game record ends. And it says white by resign. I think we just lost the game record. I don't think black played this move and then resigned, but white is already winning. And the game is pretty much already over. Even if Huang Shu just plays here, there is a trick on the top side. You can push through a couple times like this, and from here, there is a cut here. Yeah, this cut is really punishing. If black tries to Atari here, if you answer, then black could maybe try to fix things, just maybe, but you don't have to answer. You can cut again like this and break through the top side as well. So yeah, if black is either going to get captured with these 3 stones or get broken in on the top side, and also he's dying at the center, and his opponent is still Huang Longxue, there's no way for black to come back into the game. It may seem like black has a lot of territory, like the top side, the left side, but what he was doing when he was taking those territories was giving white the really strong shapes throughout the middle. And those strong shapes, they will pay themselves off. You see, white has some points underneath those 3 stones, some random points you can expect in the center from this attack, and some points on the left side and in the upper left corner just from his earlier moves taking strength, even points on the top side, as I showed you, from the tricks that he has due to his advantage in strength. So this is a really, really nice game by Huang Longxue. He just took initiative, and he showed what it means to leave a weak group in order to take initiative. I think this game is a really instructive, really good game by Huang Longxue, and he almost brings the series back to even. It's now 3-2. I'm so excited to show you guys Game 6 next time. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure you don't miss it. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.